welcome. My name's Guido Benani and welcome back to another episode of Inside ASL. Today we're here with Jared Cartoon. Jared, welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much for having me, Guido.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, absolute pleasure. Now, today's topic is very simple. It's lease or permit first. So we're talking about the childcare industry. Basically, do you lease your childcare centre first or do you go get the childcare permit first? Now, Jared, the first question I had for you, you've been with ASL for a number of years now. Straight and simple, if you were a developer, would you lease your childcare centre or would you try to achieve a permit first?
So we get asked this all the time by developers, people who are new to childcare projects. They're thinking, we're going to go straight for the permit. What do you think about it? And they give us some sort of a quick plan. Before we go to market, we often say that before you get your permit, you should go to market and get your operator secured to an AFL and lease. The biggest reason why is one, by going to market first, you're able to get that valuable insider feedback from the tenants. They're able to look at the plan, give you all of that feedback about what they want to change, what design inputs they want, and you can only, that is the best time to get that feedback before you make your application. Otherwise, you're going to need to do a secondary consent. It's going to drag out the application and the permitting process. The second, but probably the most important reason why you would want to go to market first is that you want to make sure that you've got a feasible project, that you've got something that you can actually proceed with confidence with by knowing who your tenant is, what the rent is, the lease terms, all of the commercial aspects of this deal. You're able to guarantee who your tenant is, then proceed with confidence into the permit. You're able to then pay for all of your consultants, the architect, town planner, with confidence, knowing that you've got your operator, you've got a finalised plan. You can then go and invest in that permit application with confidence.
So short and simple is our recommendation would be always go to get the tenant prior to applying for a planning permit.
And it doesn't even need to be our recommendation. It's just borne out in how many of these we do, and the overwhelming majority are that they come to us first with a concept. We then go to market, get an operator, and then they proceed to get the permit. We would say the overwhelming majority is that. Sometimes we do get sites that have a permit. They haven't yet spoken to us. They haven't come to us first. They've just relied on their consultants to get their permit. But most of the time, arguably, the majority of the time, it is just a concept. We take it to market. We get you the operator. And then once that's all secured and the deal is done, then they proceed with confidence.
So what would you say some of the pros and cons are, right, of getting the tenant or obtaining the tenant prior to going for a planning permit?
Yeah, so the biggest pros are, as I've alluded to previously, is that one, you're able to know who your tenant is. So the profile of the tenant, that matters so much when you're investing a lot of money into a project. You're wanting to know who your tenant is. Are they feasible? What's their experience? How many centres do they operate? So knowing who your tenant is, that's really important, but also knowing what the lease is. So the pros of getting the operator first is you're able to know what your rent is, the term of the lease, the fixed increases, the security covenants, etc. And all of that filters into the feasibility of the project. So they're able to plug those numbers in to get some projections, some projected end values. That all works into the feasibility of the project. So by getting those two things done and dusted, you're able to have clarity and certainty around the project. The third reason is that these operators, these are very commercial, business-like people. They're very knowledgeable, most of the childcare operators that we deal with, and they have a lot of requirements, design requirements. They will look at a plan and they'll want feedback about changes to the plan. So being able to adopt those changes at the early stage and implement them into the concept before you make an application with council just speeds everything up and makes it a much more seamless application with council. Some of the cons, obviously with that, if you have a tenant that has some requirements about the plans, You may then need to go back to your architect and have a redesign or those changes implemented, and that might incur some. There might be some cost and time involved in that, but that's better done at the early end rather than later on once you've got the permit. Definitely. So those are probably the two big things: is time and cost.
So in all your years that you've been with ASL, have you ever come across a developer that's walked into our office or given you a call on the phone? They've already obtained their permit for the childcare centre, right, with council, but we've then taken it to market and haven't been able to find a tenant?
Yes. Yeah. It's not. Look, I mean, we do everything we can to get an operator in the circumstances that we're given. So if you've already gone to council, invested a lot of time and money in the permit, and then you've come to us with that permit, we will still do everything we can to get you a quality operator at a great rent. Absolutely. Unfortunately, sometimes operators they look at the plan and it's just not viable for them. It's not viable from an operator's perspective. They look at how the layout is, the room configurations, the ratios, and they don't like it, and so it's rejected by the market. And it's very unfortunate. It would then require the developer in that scenario to have a hard think about whether or not they're going to proceed with that project. A lot of the time we are able to make some big recommendations onto the plan and how we can try turn that around for them. Look, that's just, it sort of goes back to what we emphasize about the benefits of having that flexibility right from the start. You've got a concept, you're not wedded to it.
Yep.
You can make changes and implement those changes very quickly. You can be nimble at the start of the project. Once you've got all of your consultants engaged and you've got a permit, then you're wedded to the project. And it's much more difficult and time consuming and costly to make big changes to a plan once you've got your permit.
Fantastic. Look guys, you heard it here first. The topic was lease or permit first. We would recommend definitely always find your tenant first. Jared, really want to thank you very much for joining us today. If people want to get in contact with you directly, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, so they can give me a call. My contact number is 0499 555 101 or my email, jared@aslre.com.au.
Once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already done so, hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you.